All right, let's wrap it up where we always do on Thursdays. Where would Todd be this week? Columbus, Ohio, born and raised that area, and went to Ohio State. We've done the SEC, beautiful place. We've talked about Auburn with Acre Restaurant. We talked about the unbelievable restaurant situation in Athens, Georgia with Chuck's Fish. We've done Baton Rouge. Brandon Landry stepped up with the greatest all-time trip to Baton Rouge and all the places that he would go and the sites and tailgating things that you have to do. This week in Columbus, Ohio, let me explain this to you, Mitch, okay? I grew up, I've told you, my grandfather, Marshall Brown, got me into college football. He worked with Bo Schembechler. He was recruiting coordinator in Northeast Ohio, the Sandusky area, okay? And so I grew up with an intimate knowledge of this rivalry. And He was a Michigan fan living in Ohio, which wasn't always the easiest thing, right?
Right.
And so like the pranks they would play on one another, the like intensity of the rivalry, and they would be friends for, 51 weeks of the year before it legitimately got weird sometimes. Like maybe a couple of cocktails too many, doing some weird stuff. There was a toilet one year that was ripped out and put on top of a chimney. I found out this story like 10 years ago after my grandfather passed. He ripped out a toilet in someone's house, an Ohio State fan's house, and put it on top of the chimney. So the rivalry runs deep. There's some weird stuff. But Columbus, Ohio, it is a very different feel it's a very different feel from the SEC, okay? It's more of like a lunch pail business trip. Weather's cold. We're hardened. We got to come in. And like we're gonna dine on Friday night, but we're fueling for Saturday, and we're going to war, right? So it's different than like the Southern hospitality and all that. I'm not saying wonderful people, but like they are united as one, as a front. So with that as the backdrop, every time I go to Ohio State, ESPN would put us up in certain hotels and all that, but you get to a point where you kind of try to pick your spots and doing some pro days over the years, able to pick our own hotel. The Blackwell Hotel, I'm not saying but I'm saying it's right there. It's on campus. If you can make reservations, if you're going to make a trip to Columbus for a game day weekend, try to stay at the Blackwell Inn. Okay. Because it's right there on campus, right by High Street where all the action is. And you feel like you're a part of it the whole time instead of like staying out at a different hotel kind of out of the way.
Right.
Here's my suggestion. And there's not a lot of history with the restaurants and all that stuff. And so I'm not going to spend time here overselling something but I'm telling you, Columbus is, I believe last time I checked, like the 14th largest city in America. And I didn't realize that.
I had no idea.
Big ass city. Okay. And so it's not like when you go into like the Grove at Ole Miss, it's this tiny little town where everyone knows everyone. It's not like Auburn, Alabama.
Right.
It's not like Athens, Georgia. It's a different vibe. So you're going into a city, but again, lunch pail, we're going to work. So on Friday, you fly in early. Some great golfing there if you can do it, but that's not what this trip is about. This trip is about getting to work, okay? You get in early, you got to have a lunch. Let's go play someplace with like good vibes, energy. Forno. I don't know if we have the menu here, but I love going to Forno. Every pro day I go to right after, I'll go to Forno. There's energy, there's excitement there. You can see what I love. There's just a lot of different things on this menu, but I love cozying up at the bar. It's loud in there. They've got the screens on. And I'm not going entree here because I got a big dinner, but I am going to put on probably 1,500 to 2,000 calories, Mensch. You and I, we do a lot of this after games, Senior Bowl, Combine, you and I, we dine well. And a lot of times I'll force you and you'll be like, well, I want that entree. And I'm like, let's get 9 appetizers and different things. What jumps out to you there? Because I'm going to tell you what I would roll at.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought I had the exact same thought. I was like, I want to make sure that we bring 2 or 3 people so it's not embarrassing that we get every one of them. I'm going to get, I want the arancini. I want the crispy rice. I want the burrata.
Nailed it.
The warm ricotta and the ahi tuna tacos. And that's just the highlights for me. I really want to try.
I'm going to get the meat. I've had the meatball. You got to get the meatballs there too. The meatballs are good. So and they've got a great oven there. They make their own dough there, fresh. It's in-house every day. They've got a huge like they take a lot of pride. So we're gonna finish it off with a pizza. One of the like the prosciutto stuff. Listen to this: ricotta, fontina, arugula, onion, olive oil with white balsamic reduction. Like they're not messing around. This isn't like, can we have a pepperoni pizza? Can we have the meat? Can we have the meat lovers? Like this is no joke. So that's where we start off for lunch. All right, cozy up to the bar. Get some screens in the background. Dinner is about, and again, it's different in the Midwest. It's about, if you're in the Midwest, you got to go out and you have to have a steak dinner. Okay.
Yeah.
And for when you're in this and you're in Columbus before a game, it's kind of about going out and like, all right, where's the alumni going to be? Where's Eddie George going to be? If not at his restaurant, if Urban Meyer's in town, if Herb Street's in town, where are the people going to be?
Yeah.
The atmosphere. Okay. Where's the crew going to be? Where's Klatt and Gus Johnson? Like, where are they? So it's like Hyde Park is the place that everyone, like I was texting with Urban yesterday. He was telling me, and I got to pull up because he'll yell at me. I was texting with Urban yesterday, and I said, it's still Hyde Park. He goes, no, it's the Urban Meyer Pint House. He said, and he followed that with WTF. Like, come on. But I know this, his favorite restaurant that is, and I said, but Hyde Park's still your favorite restaurant that doesn't have your name on it, but it has his name in it. This is the only weird part for me, Mitch.
Right.
Hyde Park is one of the, and it's become a chain. It's spread out, and there's different places, mostly like in the Midwest, one or two in Florida. But when I look at Hyde Park, the only thing that's a little weird is I'm not in love with eating like your friends' names on a steak.
Right.
You get the Ryan Day steak, the Kirk Herbstreit steak, the Urban Meyer steak. It's like, hey, what's up? Hey, Urban, I had your steak last night. Herbie, I had your steak, but it goes to show like this is the place to be. Okay.
Right.
And it's a classic steakhouse, but phenomenal food. Their steaks are second to none. Pick out what's your menu here. I'm starting with the Wagyu beef carpaccio.
Yep, absolutely. I'm a sucker for a crab cake, so I would probably get the crab cakes as well.
The thick cut bacon. I've had it before. Oh,
but the carpaccio is a must. I agree on that one. And then, do you want me to get into the entree or?
Yeah, go ahead. Pick a steak. What are you doing?
If I was 10 years younger, it would be the Scarlet and Gray. I mean,
Tell us about it.
40-ounce long bone tomahawk ribeye.
That's the 295 version of Mensch.
Oh God, I just can't do it anymore. But I'm gonna go a little heavy. I'll go with the Ryan Day, the 36 day dry aged bone in ribeye, heavily marbled. When I read those words, heavily marbled, I start to salivate. I mean, 26 ounces, not out of control, but that's a big piece of meat that I would kill that steak.
All right. So now we've fueled up. We've had a good lunch, a lot of energy, gone probably back to the hotel, taken a little bit of nap you sat at the bar for a few hours and then you go out to dinner. You have like an 8:00 dinner, home by 11:30. The difference here, like we're not going bar hopping at night. You're not like, it's different than the SEC in some regards, but the SEC, the tailgating in both places, that's the similarity. The tailgating in both places, the SEC, the Big Ten, like very different layout, different atmosphere, but the level of passion with the tailgate is absolutely similar. Here's what I'm going to tell you on game day. Here's how we got to approach this. So we've gotten a decent night's sleep, back in the hotel by like 11:30, sleep until 6 a.m., but get up and be ready. Okay. Get your gear ready. Make sure you get your hand warmers, you get your gloves. This time of year, you can see your breath. The first thing you'll notice when you're coming in, whether you're driving down with your grandfather as a kid from Michigan to Columbus, and you're driving in like through the neighborhoods as you get to the Olatangi River, the first thing you're going to notice, and it's the tradition both in Michigan and Ohio State, when you wake up in the morning, you better fly your flag. I'm telling you, it is an unbelievable scene. Like you can drive through the smallest neighborhood in Ohio or Michigan near Ann Arbor. It doesn't matter what part of the state. the flag is flying. It is a tradition. Like I get goosebumps thinking about like how like my grandfather up at 5 a.m, like flying that flag. Okay. So you'll notice as you're driving it, your first time ever going to a big time game at Ohio State, flags are flying from cars, from buildings, houses, everywhere. If you don't have a pole, you hang them off the side of your house. They're everywhere. Right. Okay. So that it kind of, as you're driving in, you kind of get in the mood. Okay. Then you drive in droves of fans, scarlet and gray, OHIO, right? And they're walking the banks and the bridges of the Olatangi River. Everyone coming in all geared up, right? Scarlet and gray for as far as the eye can see. Then you get into town, okay? And I obviously working a lot, and when I was a kid, I couldn't do this, but the tradition is kegs and eggs. And it started with the Michigan game because it was always a noon kick. That's the tradition. Now you got big noon kick for Fox, and we've heard some frustration from the fans, but the rules still apply. Big game, noon kick. All the restaurants and bars, Medj, open up real early in the morning. That's why you got to get to sleep the night before. Okay. Right. So it's kegs and eggs in all these places. Okay. And I'm telling you, from the varsity club to outer inn, out-r-inn, outer inn, to the library, which has been around since Woody Hayes days, to the Homage Bar, to the Parlay Sporting Club. There's no shortage in Columbus. There is no shortage of watering holes with TV screens. I promise you that. High Street. So get there early. I don't care if you get up at 6, be there like 7:30. Get in there early. Enjoy the scene, like just the vibe, the scarlet and gray, the OHIO chants. But then you better get to the tailgating, okay? You walk over, and again, it's professional. It is not fancy. It is not the Grove. We don't have chandeliers here. This is blue collar. This is Midwest. We got brats, we got burgers, smoke everywhere. Like we're not putting down white tablecloths. We're not. And honestly, if you're a Michigan fan, it ain't like one of these sweet places with all the Southern hospitality. Like, don't come over here. Don't, we got other lots down the street. Get out. Okay. Right. So it's a different mentality. Right. But then the thing is, you better get your work done. Like, get to the kegs and eggs, get to the tailgate, get fed, because when you're in there, there's no leaving at halftime. There's no going to the concession. I want you, like, I've had the honor and privilege of doing, 15, 20 Ohio State games over like 12 years. We did like 5 in 1 year. What always blows my mind is like, there's not in between quarters, blowout, no one's getting up. So whatever fuel you need from lubricants to food, you better get done in that tailgate, okay? Because that's got to last you 3.5 hours. So you get into the stadium, and these people get in early. Like I remember putting on my mic, getting my mic pack ready, walking around talking as they're warm. The kickers are kicking in pregame. They're roaring in early. They want to see it all, okay? So you get in the stadium, you're bundled up. You see your breath. It's a business trip. Totally different vibe, as I said. But when we kick off, and even before, but when we kick off, it is awesome. Yeah. It's awesome, man. Like, and I was a Michigan fan growing up, so my grandfather hated it, and I had root for Michigan, but like, you got to respect it. Yeah. From the script, Ohio, like the way that they in unison, how they work year round, the things that they're able to do in unison. We talk about offensive lines, like, it's wild to see how efficient they are. Dotting the I, a tradition since 1936 at Ohio State, okay? Then you're in the stadium, and it's not like, you walk down the street in the Olatangi, and you're walking in, and it's like, OHIO. But in the stadium, they'll start one section, like let's say the northeast corner will go, oh, and then another section, this different side of the stadium, H, and then another section, I can't do the things, okay? And so it goes around the stadium, right? Throughout the day, those OHIO chants, and then they do the swaying to the Carmen, Ohio, right? Everyone's swaying, all in unison, 103,000 people, okay? And then finally, and I know it's more of a new tradition, but throughout the game, you can't get the White Stripes 7 Nation Army out of your head for like 5 hours after a game, going back to your hotel or getting on a plane to fly out. It's and the whole like 103,000 fans doing it. So I love it, man. I just love the traditions. I miss being out there at games. We'll get the show on the road next year. I'll get you out to a couple of games. But yeah, Ohio State is absolutely one of the special places in all of college football. And if you're thinking about making a trip there, even not as an Ohio State fan, but just as a fan of college football, that's a pretty good jumping off point at what you can do. Yeah. That's all I got, Mensch. What do you got?
That's great, man. I'm just soaking it in. I got to get out there and see it.
All right. Fired up for this weekend. Listen, Saturday, please come. Go Spiders. Yep. And when you're done with the Spiders game and you're done with the Ohio State, Indiana game, and you're done with the Army Notre Dame game, come join us. It's after that primetime game. We're going to be live on YouTube. Our favorite show of the week. It's the Saturday reaction show here on the McShay Show. And join us there. And then we'll be back next week. But this is a huge week. I'm telling you, tryptophan college football season. Some crazy shit is going to go down. I'm excited for it.